Welcome, Guardians, to the Nerds of Destiny, the podcast that dives deep into every part of your addiction. I'm your host, Blue Streak. I'm your host, Joe, aka Blue Streak, on the internet. And with me today is Lynn, aka Oni Triple One.
1111.
Or you could spell it out. Oni 111. Regardless.
The real Oni. The one that counts.
The real Oni?
Yeah, the one that counts.
That's right. The one that counts. That being said, though, dude, in our beginning chatter, we were briefly talking about why we've been gone and why we're coming back. And it's not for any of the negative crap that's gone on around the internet. It's literally because we were so absorbed with enjoyment of the release of Forsaken that we just lost track of sitting down and actually recording it. So, that's a big problem.
Too busy playing games. Not even gonna lie.
Well, absolutely, dude. Too busy. But, we're settling down. We're now on an even keel. Granted, there's a lot now coming out in the current season, which we're going to cover today in the episode. Season of the Drifter. And usually, guys, for you just jumping in for the first time, we do typically have a full crew. It's not just the two of us. So a little shout out recognition to our other two nerdy gaming hosts. We have Nick, aka Thanatos DB87, and the wonderful redheaded ginger Matthew, aka Doozer. If you guys go back to our older episodes, they are on there. They will be back this week. They just couldn't hop on for various personal reasons. Although I am going to give crap to one of our hosts in this episode. Nick, here's looking at you, buddy.
Shots fired.
Dude fell asleep the night before, so we held off on the recording, only for me to find him on Destiny doing a raid with other friends. Kind of cuts deep.
You cut me deep, man. You cut me deep.
Nicholas, we'll talk after this recording. So, guys, like we said in the earlier chat, or at the beginning of this episode, we deviated for a bit, probably for the better, avoiding any of the negativity out there being put out by others, and just kind of enjoying the game for what it was. So, and our intention, I guess, is to kind of maintain a bit of a steady episodic release and just continue with this podcast. We're definitely feeling, I think, Lynn, you can agree, we're feeling reinvigorated with the idea of Bungie being independent now, and just kind of like a new direction of excitement, potentiality with what we might get out of Destiny going forward,
Yes, most definitely. I am enjoying the current season that we were in, and I am looking forward to future content releases along the roadmap.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see what their future release cadence looks like, even because right now they're fulfilling the promise they already made of releasing this annual pass, and so they've got to stick to that, and I'm just very curious to see where it's going to go once they finish out this current season pass, which I believe ends with the next one, which was previously called Penumbra, but has since been relabeled as the Season of Opulence. So we'll throw out some of our theory crafting later, but that is the end of the season, and that's the fall, so it's not the winter. And there's currently no indication if they're going to do a major. I honestly think they've been so busy with this annual pass. I don't know if they're going to release a big content drop. It would be cool and really awesome to see some kind of crazy new, like, big expansion for the end of, what is this, year 2 of Destiny? Is this year 2, or would this be year 3 at the end of year 3?
No, it'd be
Yeah. Forsaken.
year 3. Yeah, this.
Forsaken came out September, so was that the end of year 2 for Destiny? Or, anyway, bottom line, like with D2, we got, they had a real crappy release schedule with D1. They kind of didn't have a good solid plan when going through the motions. They did release, let's see, the big major one. The first major one was Taken King. And then they did Rise of Iron, which was really spread apart. Right?
Yeah. It was kind of rough because it
small
was
DLCs,
Vanilla Destiny,
the Dark Below,
and the little.
I'm pausing because I will not stand here and claim to be a D1 expert because I came in late in the game. I became a fan at the end of its life cycle.
Fair enough. No, it was the Fallen DLC, and then after that it was the Taken King, and then it was Rise of Iron. Well, not the Rise of Iron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it was called.
With the Lords, the Iron Banner, the Iron Banner stories, the lore behind it. Yeah.
It's when they unlocked the Fell Iron Peaks with Lord Saladin, and then there was the Hunter guy and Siva that took over the
I guess my point is that they have the small DLCs. A lot of people say Forsaken is to Destiny 2 what the Taken King was for D1 as far as hold up. In a broad sense, I'm not comparing apples to apples here. But it took Vanilla Destiny and elevated it to a place where it needed to be, and it fixed a lot of things as far as, I don't know, mechanics, depth. I don't know. I'm being broad about it because
what it was a cost of living update. It made things more bearable, and it made things more enjoyable, and there was something to grind for, and it was what the hardcore sweats wanted, kinda, because they're gonna, being what they are, they're gonna complain over anything. So
okay, so to be fair, in a broad sense, Forsaken did the same thing. Because D2 was for casuals, super casuals, and that was an EA, Activision request.
If we're going to compare Taken King to Forsaken, Taken King was a game changer. Taken King was seriously a large, massive content drop that made the game that much better. Forsaken feels like a soap opera that is getting ready to go under, so they kill off one of their main characters, and it sucks everybody back in.
Interesting. Great analogy, but wasn't expecting that.
You know what I mean? There's the...
But aside from story,
there's
though,
the draw to stick around. There's the draw to come back and see what happens and what changes after it. Okay, and that's what you come back to, is to see what happens after Cade's gone. Okay, they didn't add in a ton of content, like end game content.
No, but is it fair to say though? You said game changer. I wasn't expecting the episode to be about comparing old to new. We'll get to the current season news topics in a moment, guys. But just to kind of wrap up the idea of what I'm trying to understand here, what in the most simple bullet points that you can make
Okay.
for me, Lynn, what was game changing about Taken
Taken
King?
King. Okay.
What was the game changing aspect?
There was the introduction of the swords, the exotic swords. There was the introduction of the lore based around Oryx, Crota, and all of that. There was the introduction of the new raid. There was just the sheer farm for new gear, new strike-specific gear that was based on the strike itself. You know, like when you did, what was it? There was that hive strike where there was the large knight at the end. The Titan could get his helmet at the end of it. You know what I mean? And then if you did the Bomber Brothers strike, you could get the Titan arm off of that strike. And then there was the strike where you could do the mind flares, and the hunter could get 3 different capes from that same strike based on which flare you killed at the end of it. So if you killed the Void Flare last, you would get the Void Flare cape. And, you know, so on and so forth, if you did the Solar, the Arc. And then...
Okay, we're getting a little deep. We're getting a little in the needles here.
That is the deep that I'm talking about, though. In Taken King,
so give me a layman's term. Give me a layman's term statement of what made the Taken King a game changer. For someone who doesn't know the hardcore part, but what, in a broad sense, what made it a game changer?
Was when the community asked for content and the community asked for lore.
Okay.
They delivered, and they delivered to the point where they saw where the community wanted it, and then they took that bar and shot it way up to the roof.
Okay.
Now,
fundamentally, game mechanics didn't change, though.
No,
that's what I'm kind of. I just wanted to pinpoint.
They did change, because if I'm for certain, Taken King was when they added in the 3rd subclass. And when they did that, there was also the new mechanics of the new raid. And then they started adding difficulties onto the raid and the old raids. So there was that new challenger, and there was that new pursuit, that new end game.
Okay.
Now, Forsaken kind of feels like a half attempt at that Taken King. It doesn't feel like it's shot up way up there. Ooh. It's kind of like here. It's where the community wanted it. Kinda.
Real quick. I want to pose this to you real quick in regards to listeners out there, if you're not familiar, Lynn is a pre-day one. He's one of the veteran gamers out there that's been there from the beginning to now. And so Lynn has a very wide perspective on what he sees the community has wanted, what Bungie has delivered, and he's seen how D2 took off and what that's delivered. So here's the thing, as far as like your comparison of Forsaken on D2, I think you're completely right in saying it's Taken King still stomps Forsaken as far as what it meant to the community, as far as what changed
Yeah.
the game from what it was, right? So, but the other thing I want to bring up regarding D2 is I'm curious about your comparison if you allow me to remind you for just a moment that Forsaken, sorry, not Forsaken, that Vanilla D2 was a massive hard
Yeah.
reset of what Destiny was to begin with.
Yeah.
So in context of that, hold on. I'm painting the picture for the listener here. So in layman's terms, Destiny 2 tried to cater to the non-hardcore. They tried to spread their wings and broaden the audience by appealing to, and this isn't to simplify or call other gamers out there ignorant by any means. It's just, if you're not into a hardcore RPG, are you going to jump in? Probably not. So essentially Activision wanted Bungie to really soften up the idea of what Destiny was. And so they changed a lot of mechanics about the game to make it as close to just a pick up and grab shooter as possible, really watering down all the heavy weight that made Destiny 1 so rich. And so by pointing that out, if you're going to say, so what I'm trying to ask you, Lynn, D1, how it was and what passionately drove fans to become fans of it, and then the Taken King being a game changer of that, versus D2 being a super watered down version of D1, and then Forsaken resurrecting aspects, not everything, but aspects of D1. Would you say there is a fair comparison into how game changing Forsaken was for D2 vanilla in similarity to D1 to Taken King? Not by any means am I saying that Forsaken toppled Taken King. That's not my point. You get what I'm saying?
What I want to
how dramatic was Forsaken changing the game of D1?
I'd say,
sorry,
from vanilla D1 to Taken King, it was going from first gear to top gear. Okay? And then going to D2, you went back down all the way to low gear. And then I would say Forsaken, you're probably in like third or fourth gear tops. So I'd say there's more to come, and there's more to look for, and it's promising with Forsaken. I will say with the Season of the Drifter, with the way that the roadmap looks, it has the potential to go to another gear, and I'm excited for it.
So, Lynn, that is a perfect segue into the main topics for this episode. We kind of played a little bit of a catch-up game here as far as talking about the game as a whole, kind of the state of the game, comparing it to the state of the game from its predecessor. But now that's a great segue to jump us into the current progress of the state of the game with the current season and what's going on with it. So let's jump into that, Lynn. Let's talk about Season of the Drifter, which is heavily what's being promoted. And I kind of want to point this out. Originally, the wording or phrasing out there was Joker's Wild, but that's kind of like sort of faded away to now we're just looking at it being Season of the Drifter. Like that's what we're focusing on as it being called. Do you remember Joker's Wild being a term when they first announced the roadmap? So,
Yeah, it was the name of the DLC.
right. Same thing with this third season coming soon. The Penumbra being switched
Like,
to
yeah, Penumbra.
Season of
Yeah,
Opulence. So it's curious and interesting, and we're not going to dive into that the minutia of phrasings here. So
I think I think people were getting a little too excited with the Joker's Wild thing, thinking that there might be something there, and there's not. So they just focused on the season of the Drifter.
interesting point you make.
You know,
Would you care to enlighten me a little bit on what you've heard or seen as far as the community reacting to Joker's Wild? Because had not
well,
dived into that.
it had to do with a cutscene that had a body on a. I don't want to spoil things if people haven't seen it, but
Okay,
there
hold on.
was
Spoiler warning.
there was
Skip ahead 30 seconds
there,
if you don't want to hear this.
there was a cutscene where a body was on a stone covered in a sheet, and when you looked at that body covered in the stone by the sheet, there was a horn that protruded from it,
Oh, snap.
and a lot of people thought that Cade was going to come back, and they really wanted to kind of nip that in the bud, I think, with the whole it being called Joker's Wild.
Oh, interesting.
And
Okay.
you know what I mean?
I see
And
what,
it
yeah.
has a lot more. It has a lot more to do with Lord Aldrin coming back as opposed to Cade, and they don't want to get people's hopes up thinking Cade will come back.
Interesting. Man, see,
But
this is why I got you on here, Lynn. You know.
but if you do look at the cutscene though, the way that the shadow on the ground is portrayed, it really looks a lot more like Cade as an Exo than it does look like Aldrin.
Damn.
So
Makes sense. I'm curious, and we'll talk about this later in another episode or at the end of this episode about the following season and why its name has changed. We'll talk about that later. But well, sir, let's jump into this. We're not gonna get super detailed on the TWAB for the week. It came out on the 7th. I'm gonna try to get this episode up Monday or Tuesday, guys. It's gonna be largely a raw episode, so I'm not gonna do a whole lot of editing aside from the beginning of the episode. That's just between us. But that being said, so I mean, this week of Bungie came out on the 7th, so all the details we're covering right now have been talked about as of last Thursday. So we're just going to do a brief recap on what has come out regarding Season of the Drifter, and then we will lay out for you guys what's been listed as coming.
And then what will probably be already out by the time this drops.
Now, let's see. Today, we're recording Sunday night on the 10th. March 12th is the next couple things that are coming out. So,
Tuesday.
That'll be Tuesday's reset. So, I'm hoping I can get this out before reset or the morning of.
I hope you do, because that'll be tier 3 of the Reckoning and the start of the Thorn Exotic Quest.
And the Allegiance Quest and the Deep Six map being released.
Oh, yeah.
So let's start.
Allegiance Quest.
Hold on. Okay, I'll need to lean on you a little bit because I didn't fill out the notes extensively enough to cover,
Well,
theories.
Let's just get into it.
So let's get into it, guys. So first up, right at the beginning, something that wasn't clear for some podcasts I've listened to, and the people in the community weren't completely sure about this point, but the new Gambit Prime maps that are coming out are going to remain exclusive to the Prime mode till towards the end of the season. And I actually have a date listed here on when they're going to be available for everyone, but Bungie wanted to make those maps special for Prime.
You're talking about the Titan and the what's the other
I'm
one?
talking about Arcadia, which is the one that came out on the 5th, the day the season started. I'm talking
Yep.
about Deep Six.
Okay.
And I think, well, those are the two, I think.
So
There's one more.
one is
Emerald Coast. Emerald Coast is
yep.
the third map.
One is Titan and one is
I don't remember
the
Emerald
one is
Coast.
Io, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So let's get into the dates. We'll unfurl the details as we list them off. So the season started on March 5th. We're in our second week right now of the current season. March 5th had Gambit Prime, a new mode introduced, with Reckoning being the new seasonal
Endgame.
pinnacle back and forth,
Endgame.
the end game
Or,
content
yeah, Endgame.
with a tier 1 difficulty. And it's interesting, Lynn, they're releasing difficulties in a cadence of week by week, increasing
Okay.
the difficulty. Go ahead.
Can I go over this one
Raw thoughts. Go ahead.
for all of the Destiny sweats and hardcores out there? They want to complain about this time gated release, but there is a reason why it is time gated, and it is because of the sweats and the hardcores. And that is so you don't blow through the content and get tired of it. That's why it is time gated.
And for my personal opinion on the matter, I'm not upset about these controlled releases of any of it, honestly, because this is by giving us a time frame of, okay, I've got a whole week to rock through this stuff, and I know this is coming next week. It gives us a constant drive. Like, I know some people have mixed feelings on the trickle effect of content, but
Yeah,
if we're being honest, this it's still bringing in the hardcore gamers every week to jump into the next step.
yeah. And I mean,
You know?
in all fairness, I do see where the hardcores are coming from, because last night I was able to get almost an entire Sentry set, almost an entire Invader set. I completed my Reaper set, and I got 3 pieces of Collector set done. And that was last night.
I don't mean to call you out, but I just gotta know. How many hours did you play?
It it was probably like 2 or 3 hours.
Okay.
Like,
And were you
and
rocking with a full crew, or did you play with any blueberries?
it was just me and Ken. So
Okay.
it was a 2-man, and what we did was we just kept running in the Reckoning.
Man.
And honestly, all you got to do is you drop your offering in, and then once you complete the quest line for the new DLC, you get the ability to upgrade your offering system,
Okay.
and then you get the ability to put in greater offerings, and then it just subsequently snowballs. You know what I mean?
Wow. Man,
It
I
just
can't wait till you get an Xbox so you can help me rock through some of these things.
it, I mean, we had a couple matches where we had blueberries who didn't know what they were doing, and they'd start the match before we could drop the raid flag down.
I'm going to throw this
But
out there, Lynn. Nick is going to deeply appreciate you being able to run through stuff with him. Because I wish he was on tonight. I don't know where he is. Maybe, I mean, God forbid he'd be playing Destiny in a raid right now with several other people. But, you know, if he was here right now, he'd be venting about the season and Gambit Prime and, like, getting stuck with blueberries and just being so frustrated with them not knowing what
right?
they're doing. I get it, man. Nick, I wish you were
And
here to vent about
hey,
this stuff. But,
hey, if you no, if you guys want a good strategy for Prime, okay,
okay.
next time you're on with your 4-man or 3-man or whatever you got,
Or
like a
two man in
2-man,
your case.
there you go. when you first load into Prime, that first wave of ads, you guys want to collect. Nobody dump, everybody collect. Okay? Because even if the enemy team sends over blockers, the blockers take away moats. So if nobody's dumped moats in,
There's
don't
nothing to
lose
drain.
moat. Exactly.
Right.
So go through the first wave, get all your moats. Go through the second wave, get all your moats. Then dump on the second wave. Okay? And then after that, make sure every time you hear the sound of a blocker come up, kill the blocker. Okay?
Okay.
And then when you hear an invader come across, everybody, you can't, pardon my language, you can't pussyfoot around with the invader. Everybody needs to go after the invader. Don't let them frighten you. Go after the invader. Okay? And then just keep dumping your moats. Okay? And then when you get to your Primeval, that first round of the Primeval, use your primary weapon. Don't blow your heavy. Don't blow your supers. The first round of Primeval, kill all the witches, get into your well, use your primary ammo, and tap on the boss just a little bit. Okay, and then when he goes immune again, when they come over to invade, focus the invader, and then go kill your witches, and go back to the Primeval and burn it. Seriously. Unload your heavy, unload your supers, everything on that second Primeval phase. Because first Primeval phase, you can never kill it in the first. There's a damage cap on that. As soon as you do so much damage in the first phase, he goes immune. Second phase, there's no immunity cap. Just burn it.
Dang.
So whatever you got, like a tether, you got what is it? The hammer's shoulder charge where it makes them weak, and then the top tree Nova Bomb from Warlocks. That's another good one, and then a well radiance from Warlock.
Oh yeah,
the middle tree.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it. Burn it.
Nice.
That's how you win that Gambit Prime. You just can't be afraid of invaders. You got to really focus the invaders, and then you got to focus when they dump a blocker on you. Because if you let that blocker sit, you start losing moats.
Right.
And when you start losing moats, you lose progress. And if you don't have blockers going over to their side, they're not losing moats either. So you gotta really manage your both sides of the field. You can't just manage your side. You got to manage their side too. Mm-hmm. If you're not sending stuff over their way,
right?
They don't have pressure on them. They can focus on you, and then they can just really plow you.
Right.
And that's how you get mowed over. But sorry.
No, that's
Prime.
Yeah, dude, that's perfect. Like you've given the other hosts of this show some insight, and our listeners, if they're not already up to par with this mode of Prime.
I mean, I'm probably preaching to the choir there, but it's kind of one of those things that a lot of blueberries don't understand.
Hey, we need you, Lynn, to spread the word to some of those blueberries, bro, because Nick, I don't know where he is tonight, again, but, he's been struggling with blueberries.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I love carrying blueberries. I'm not even going to lie. I love carrying blueberries.
Yeah, it helps if you...
Blueberries drag you down so hard, it sucks.
It helps if they can hear you guide them, too. But... let's move forward. Thanks for your insight on at least the Gambit Prime strategy, especially based on how fast you moved through collecting the initial armor in just a 2-3 hour session. We didn't focus any time on it when we were playing it, so that's why we didn't see any of the kind of results you saw already. But that being said, another two last
Well,
notes.
hey, hold
Go
on,
ahead.
hold on. You know how you get the ability to get those, right?
Uh, no, because
Kinda.
I haven't had enough time. I haven't had any time in it yet.
Okay. All right. The long and short of it, once you complete a Gambit Prime and you win, you get the ability to get daily quests that give you a different colored token associated with daily quests
Oh.
that allow you to deposit your offering into Reckoning. When you dump that offering into the Reckoning, it gives you a different piece of gear associated with that daily quest.
Thank you for that, sir.
So,
No, that's important. That's important for anyone that's
there
not
you
caught
go.
up. That's important for me. Because to be honest, we streamed for a couple hours a couple nights ago, and we did a bunch of other activities. Mainly the surge
And
quests, the surge bounties that the Drift offers,
yeah,
just to get our power up because we kind of been out of the loop for a little bit. But
yep.
dude, that's hugely important to know because we didn't win any Gambit Prime matches, but we also only played one round. Like we only played one
Well,
match.
here's the thing. Have any of you guys completed the storyline for the Drifter? So, like, unlocked Reckoning?
I can't speak for the other guys
Just,
not
no,
here, but
well,
I haven't.
it's kind of a yes or no. So, no,
I'm saying
but
I don't know about Nick or Matt,
no, no, no.
but I
Okay,
have
no, no.
not.
I'm saying, okay. But, so what you want to do is you don't worry about what you have currently. Just blow through the quest line. Okay? And you'll get to the Reckoning. It doesn't matter what color offering you put in. But make sure you grab all of the Gambit Prime quests. That's the important part. So that you can get at least one of the offerings by the time you get the ability to give an offering.
Okay.
So grab those no matter what. If you haven't done the story yet, grab those quests, go into Gambit Prime, complete one of those quests, and then beat the Gambit Prime. You'll move on to the next story quest, and then he'll give you a object that when you get into Reckoning, it allows you to make an offering for the bank, and then you'll go in, you'll dump your offering into the bank, and it doesn't matter whatever the color it is, because it's going to drop at like 533 light.
Yeah.
Okay, you dump your offering and complete your Reckoning tier 1. Okay,
Okay.
and then you go back, and then he'll have a new set of bounties open up that allow you to upgrade your offering machine to put in a higher level offering, which will bring you up to like a purple instead of a green. But it's still going to be a purple, like a purple. It'll just have a higher light level to it.
Yeah.
And each time you upgrade your offering thing, it starts off at green. It significantly boosts the power level and the tier level of the gear. So like when you're dumping green offerings in, you get a +1 to your Sentry set, or a +1 to your collection or your collector set, or, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But when you upgrade that offering machine, you get a larger bonus.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So currently we're able to get tier 2, which would be like a +2 or a +3 on your gear.
Right.
That's what you can get. That's what you can get right now. When the next tier drops, which will be subsequently harder, and they recommend like 680, 690 light for, you're going to get the max boost for that gear set. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning, don't worry so much about your green stuff. Just dump your offering and blow through the storyline, and then get those next level of bounties for the Drifter. And then once you get those next level of bounties, if you have a Sentry set, like right now, this week, it's a +1 bonus to your headgear. So if you have a Sentry headgear, go grab that Sentry upgrade for the Sentry headgear and your offering machine. Because if you don't have a collector headpiece and you go grab the collector upgrade, then it's kind of wasted, you know what I mean? It'll upgrade your machine, but it won't upgrade your headgear.
Right. Bummer.
So, but that kind of a tip there. Just blow through the storyline. Don't really focus on the gear right off the bat. But once you do get past the initial Tier 1 Reckoning, then start focusing on it. Make sure you grab that next level of daily bounty from the Drifter, and then go on. You'll get it. Like for me, it was the fastest way to get through my gear sets. It was the fastest way to get everything, because it not only gives you the upgrade to the machine, but the gear. It also gives you the ability to get another gear at a higher level, at a higher tier level.
Right.
So it's faster, and it's you get more gear that way.
Copy that, man.
Okay, let's move on to the next.
Okay, guys. Thank you, Len, for all those handy fast-tracking tips for kicking off the season. If you guys are jumping in a little late like me, who I'm not currently up to par on that, so that's good for me to hear. So with March 5th kicking off the season, we've got the Tier 1 for both activities. We have the new Arcadia map, which, as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, these maps are exclusive to the Prime mode until towards the end of the season. And an interesting little tidbit here, private matches with Gambit Prime. So that's kind of cool. I heard the developers mention in the Vidoc that you can load in solo into a private match on one of these new maps. Literally, you can kind of throw some bullets around and attack the enemies that show up there. You just will have no other team that you're fighting against. So, if you want to explore, that's cool, and it's awesome that they've offered that. I can definitely see Gambit Prime being a higher tier challenge could turn into some competitive things with this private match offering, so that's cool.
I know with a lot of clans, that's something that a lot of people have been looking for, is that ability to have that internal conflict and show who's better than who.
Right. Well, and I mean, that's largely... I know Destiny's a long ways away from ever doing anything MLG based, but just because of the weapon balancing crap. But private matches does open up that door for potential future things where we might see Destiny showing up in some tournament fashion down the road. But let's get back on track here with the rest of the roadmap. Guys, Tier 2 already came out. We're recording on the 10th, so this came out over the weekend, March 8th. Tier 2 difficulties for Gambit Prime and the Reckoning. So let's move forward. March 12th. That's going to be on the Tuesday reset for all of us. And I'm hoping I can get this out before reset. We are going to see the next new exclusive map called the Deep Six. We're going to get our first highly promoted and commercialized exotic quest, the Thorn, from D1. We're finally getting the Thorn quest.
And they're saying that it might be back to the double tap.
And also, aside from that being cool, and what I'm liking about just about this in general is people at first were like upset about lack of mystery because like Whisper of the Worm, that whole quest was everyone got so excited because it was such a mystery and people found it in the wild. Like I remember my first experience in seeing it was I was playing a public event with a random and I saw a guy holding it in his hands. And I screenshotted it. I'm like, what is that? And I got into his inventory. I saw it was called Whisper of the Worm. Bam. I went to the internet just like everyone else that would have seen it or found it randomly. People are like, "What is this?" So some people are on the onset of this announcement a little disappointed that Thorn is kind of just like, "Hey, here," like Bungie straight up, bam, it's coming. No mystery behind it. It's coming. And I mean, there's a for me and for hardcore fans, I think there's kind of a half and half feeling on it. Like people are excited it's coming back, so Bungie thought that was important to push out there the idea that hey, guess what, it's coming back. And there's a little bit of disappointment with the lack of mystery. However, the thing I'm excited about is in the Vidoc release. Behind me, you guys can look at the roadmap. If you Google search it online, you'll find it. The roadmap for what's coming out, it says the Thorn Quest, and it makes a very broad statement of basically there's going to be other exotic quests, but the only one they're showcasing is Thorn. So that leads me to believe that hopefully there's at least one or more like hidden exotic quests that are like a surprise for the community. And Bungie knows we want surprises. And Lynn, you're holding your finger up as if you have maybe a thought, theory, or inside info on something. So go ahead.
I would like to throw this out there. And I think one of our other Guardians, Nick or Matt, have brought something up in regards to making it a fluid or ever-changing MMO like WoW.
Mm-hmm.
But they're bringing back all of the D1 exotics, i.e. Thorn, and it was hinted during the Malfeasance quest very heavily that it was there. Because the Guardian, if you haven't done the Malfeasance quest yet, but...
Are you saying that the Thorn was there?
Thorn was in the lore for Malfeasance because that's what killed... towards the end of the quest, that's what ends up killing the main storyline protagonist of the Malfeasance quest.
Right.
Is the Thorn. And
quick side note, you're a little blurry, Lynn. I don't know if that's fixable or not. Anyway, continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to break.
Okay, but with changes that are coming next week, I feel like it will introduce or may affirmate the statements of the other party members within our group that wanted to see it become a more fluid game, a more ever-changing solid that does just get better with time. And I think that Thorn Quest is just a hint towards that. And maybe
I've also heard within lore there may be the Rose.
The Rose.
Have you heard of the Rose? It's the opposite of Thorn. It's what maybe it's only been in the lore. Maybe there hasn't been a hand cannon called the Rose. It's what Thorn became. It started out as a hand cannon called the Rose, being wielded by what's the guy that wielded Thorn?
Ooh, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I have to go back through.
A quick shout out to the YouTuber My Name is Bife. Everyone in the community of Destiny knows who he is. He is a fantastic British guy that narrates a crap ton of lore on his channel.
Yep.
He is pretty thorough, and he just released and I mentioned it, I think, in a previous episode.
Yep, and that's what made
An
me
hour.
go check that out.
Yeah, I've only watched half of it, but it's an hour and 20-minute lore video with custom artwork from a community member on DeviantArt. It's got voice actors from multiple community members on different YouTube channels. It's very well produced with background music, and it's the full story of Thorn and something else. But
he also does a great one on the Drifter. He
just released one like today or yesterday about the Drifter, and he's covering all the lore of the current season, and it's really good stuff, guys. That is, my name is Byf, B-Y-F, Byf. But that being said, so regardless, back on track of just the overall idea, I think we might see some mystery exotics that are not listed anywhere yet, which I'm excited about. Like, I love the idea that Thorn is coming back from D1, and I look forward to seeing what else is coming out of that. Then, March 12th, this Tuesday reset, Guardians, we get to make a choice. We get to make a dramatic moral compass choice in our quest as a Guardian. And it's called the Allegiance Quest, and we're going to either get to side with the Drifter himself, or stay true to the Vanguard and what is it?
I want to say
Zavala?
I want to say I called this one back a long time ago. I thought it was going to come D3, but with what other Guardians have said, with this becoming a more fluid game, it is here upon our doorstep currently.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the faction choice, whether you go to the Dredgen side or the Vanguard side.
Dun, dun, dun.
And it is your choice between going to the Dredgen side of the Drifter, whether you call that the dark or the light side, it's up to you. Or the side...
He dips a little into the shadows.
Or the side of staying with Zavala, Ikora Rey, and the rest of the Vanguard. There is a quest No, it's not a quest. It is a lore step associated with a warlock that if you choose to stay with the Vanguard, you can complete the lore out. But if you go to the Drifter side and you choose to become Dredgen, you do not get to complete the lore out on your character. So. And that is one thing that they stated within their roadmap and the TWAB, is that whichever side you pick, that character is locked in to the quest steps permanently for those factions.
We would also be remiss not to mention that it is not account locked, but just simply character locked. So if you're one of those crazy Guardians out there rocking more than one character main, you do have an opportunity to check out both sides of the story. So for me, I may try to get one of my three characters caught up to my main. I'm main a hunter right now, so he is close to the highlight power level. I'm gonna have to work a little harder on one of the other characters, if per se I want to, like I mentioned before, check out the other half of the story. I might just look up a My Name is Byf video later for the lore, but But I am leaning on the hunter side and a little bit of the drifter side. I kind of like the idea of being locked into a choice.
Also,
So I'm sure Lynn here might be able to give us some perspective in a future podcast episode.
here's another thing to have noted. The Vanguard did say in lore that the hunter position was open, and upon that position becoming open, all of the hunters bailed from the tower.
In the lore?
In the lore.
In the lore that was mentioned, all the hunters bailed?
All the hunters left the tower based upon this becoming known. So,
oh, snap.
this is kind of a take it as we'll see what happens kind of thing. But there are a few hunters from the Season of Iron in D1 that we haven't heard from in a long time. So I'd like to see where they are. And that was the hunter that led the Iron Banner, while Saladin was the main protagonist.
It's not Ephrodite, is it?
What's that?
Efreet or Ephrodite?
I think it was something like that. She had the pretty.
I think she was the hunter.
Yeah,
I think.
And then there was the other hunter who was the daily bounty guy, who was right there on the Fell Iron Peaks with Saladin, right before you cross the bridge.
I did not know. On a quick side note, just for lore fans out there, I did after listening to so much. My Name Is Bife. I've learned a few things, but didn't realize that Saladin was actually the trainer to Shaxx.
He's also the bad-ass stick wielder from The Walking Dead.
Okay, if we're talking about voice actors,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd give him a little credit there. He's been through some stuff.
Some stuff, indeed.
Some stuff. Yeah, but I don't.
Go ahead.
You know, there is one character that we haven't heard from, and I know Nick is very familiar with this character, but I'm very curious to see if the lore books that we're going through right now have anything to do with her. I doubt it, but it is Eris Morn. I'd like to see where
I know.
she ended up.
I want to see her return at some point, but
right? I think that
who knows?
Like far foreshadowing, far way off into the distance, the affirmated Penumbrum DLC. I think that's when we'll end up seeing her, when we see a lot of the Hive come back.
I mean, that would be a pretty cool reveal for sure. Okay, let's cruise through the rest of this roadmap, Lynn, if you're down.
Yeah, let's get through it quick.
So March 15th, the following week, we're going to see Tier 3 in the Reckoning.
Yep.
Now, this is going to require a minimum power level of 680 to enter, while the challenge is set at 690. So Bungie lists off in their TWAB here, bring your best gear.
And don't break blueberries.
That too. Secondly, it kicks March 15th also kicks off the Invitations of the Nine. So we're going to get some new lore. We're going to learn a little bit more about what the Nine, who they are. We're going to learn a little bit more about it.
Quick, speaking of the Nine, Xur is doing Forsaken Exotics. Everybody probably already knows, but
throwing this out there. I hope you guys caught on to that last week. I know I picked up Trinity Ghoul last week for a hot 29 shards.
Yep.
Not bad at all. For those that have missed out,
he's definitely worth visiting on Fridays again. That was one thing I look forward to in D1 was always going to see Xur, but Now he's worth going to
Was
Sacred.
this quest based or because they've added some more exotics?
It's because they put Forsaken exotics into the loot pool. It's
Right.
definitely worth it now. Don't if you have your vanilla D2 exotics complete, don't get the faded. But
right.
other than that, grab what you can that's Forsaken.
I was gonna say, wait, is that faded engram? Because I didn't see it written anywhere. But does the faded one now pull potential Forsaken exotics now or no?
It's supposed to give you exotics that you're missing, but when I
Right.
grabbed it on my hunter, I have all of the pre-Forsaken exotics on my loot table completed, on my collections table, and it
Yeah.
ended up giving me a pre-Forsaken exotic. So as of right now, if
that faded engram,
unless it's bugged, it's still only given D1 exotics. So don't be disappointed.
So only
Don't be disappointed if you only get D1 or vanilla.
Don't waste your time purchasing
vanilla
it.
D2 exotics. Don't. I just focus on grabbing the stuff that he has that you see
in store direct purchase. Yeah.
Don't blow the 90 something on the faded.
Yeah, good point. Okay, moving through the rest of our roadmap. March 26th is going to introduce the next third and final map for Gambit Prime exclusivity called the Emerald Coast map. So,
Woo!
only thing special that week is just a new map, finally. Then jumping on over to April 2nd. As of April 2nd, it says here, and I believe this is true. This is correct. All maps available. It's kind of vague on what that means. If they mean it's no longer exclusive to Prime by April 2nd, because by April 26th, the third map will be released.
Well, okay.
Is that saying that when Deep Six comes out, is that the only map you can play? And then when Emerald Coast comes out, that's the only map you can play? And then when April 2nd comes out, all three maps are available to swap between?
For Prime, yes.
So that's what I'm saying. So like
for Prime,
Arcadia was the first map. So like right now, if I jump into Prime, I'm not going to get Arcadia. I'm going to get Deep Six.
Yeah, that's all you're going to get. And
okay. And by March 26th, you're only going to get to play Emerald Coast.
No. It'll be a cycle between all of the ones that are available currently. So as they get dropped, then it's
okay. So Lynn, it's a little bit of speculative here. What does it mean? April 2nd, all maps available.
Okay. Do you have the I want to say all the Crucible maps are currently available that were exclusive to PlayStation are available on Xbox currently, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's out of the question. What it means now is that the Gambit Prime maps will also be available in Gambit as well.
Regular Gambit.
So
right.
the Prime, when it says that, it means that the Prime maps will also be available in regular Gambit as well.
That's what I was assuming, and you assume the same. Okay. And private matches will also be completely unlocked for Gambit Prime, the Arcadia, and Deep Six maps. Everything basically, as of April 2nd, will be available for private play and regular Gambit, according to the roadmap here. Then jumping into the next week, these next couple weeks towards the end of April are a little broad and undefined. April 9th is called Arc Week, which is not an annual pass based content. It's going to be for everyone event that kicks off. And then the following week, April 16th through May 6th, will be a seasonal event called the Revelry, which is also going to be available to absolutely everyone, regardless of the annual pass. And currently, we don't have any details on that, Lynn, so...
I have a feeling that's when they will start doing everything as public and free to play. And until another big name DLC drops. You know, like the next section of the season pass. Like it'll all just be world and date event.
Right. Yeah, the end of May should be the end of the season of the Drifter. And then June, July, August should be Season of Opulence, aka Penumbra, previously called.
And they were saying that they wanted to hide that, but...
They wanted to keep that season very secretive as far as what's coming.
Well, they wanted to make the community actually go out and look for it. They didn't want to say, here's
that's
the content,
what I mean.
Here's what it is, here.
And here's where you go to find it,
make it completely hidden, and the community had to go look for it. And originally they were hinting that it was already in the game.
Interesting, but to be fair, we haven't heard anything from any of the hardcore people that hunt for that stuff.
I don't think that it is, especially with the name change. I don't think that it is.
No. Well, guys, that is the roadmap of the current season. Let's throw this out there. Let's shift over to basically our personal resets. Like, as of this week, up to the end of this week, how has our personal experience with the season been going? So we've kind of covered a little bit of that already. So it's going to just kind of be our wrap up section to this episode because we've already gone pretty long already.
Let me start off by saying I got hit by the glitch of the weekly resets, where when the new season dropped, I wasn't able to do my new weeklies on the Tuesday. I didn't get those until yesterday at about 9 p.m.
Oh, that's weird. What was that? Platform specific glitch going on, or
board. But it was randomly striking, but it was so noticeable that they put out a fix for it, and that's why everything became available. So like on my hunter, my warlock, I went through and did all the forges because I'm still trying to get my Jotun. I know I am a slacker, but I'm still trying to get my Jotun. And
you're a slacker. I'm nowhere even near it.
I'm running through it on all three of my characters, and like I went to hop on reset to grab the quests from Ada 1 to go through and try and get my Jotun. And it said that I already completed all of them. Like, I completed all the dailies, I completed all the weeklies. And I was like,
yeah.
what are you talking about? And then I went and looked at Ikora, and Ikora said that I've already completed the weekly with her as well. And then come yesterday at 9, everything reset for me, and I was like, oh. And I was like, me and another guy were sitting in chat with Ken, and it was me and Sword, and everything reset for the two of us. And Ken's like, nothing reset for me. And then Sword is like, well, did you already do everything this last week or within the past couple days? And Ken's like, yeah, I completed everything yesterday. And Sword's like, well, yeah, everything was available to you on reset. So the Sword and I were actually able to do our reset for the week finally come yesterday. But I
Dang.
want to say still no luck on the Jotun. I did twice on my Hunter, twice on my Warlock, and then once on my Titan. Still no good.
Quick refresher for those more out of the loop than most. Where is the pursuit for that Jotun? Like, what does one do to
You got to
go
get a
for it?
ballistics log from A to 1, so it's complete the
Okay.
2 weeklies for her, and then you go to the highest drop chance is the Bergugia Forge, which is the one on the EDZ
Okay.
far south from Trostlands, and it's that one. You want to primarily do that. There are some conspiracy theorists and some trolls out there that say that you can get the Jotun without having a legendary weapon frame, but as far as I know, you have to have the legendary weapon frame to get it. And what was it? Not last week, but the week before, I ended up getting the Monarch from it. I didn't get the Jotun. I got the exotic bow. I mean, oh darn. Oh darn, I needed it still, but
it wasn't the one thing.
It wasn't the handheld toaster that I wanted.
Darn it.
Anyway, like I'm saying, my pursuit for the Jotun is still out there. I ran my
Still hot and fresh.
Got a lot of gear from my Hunter, and ran the Reckoning, got a lot of gear from my Hunter, and that's where I'm at, waiting for next reset. What you got?
Nice. Me, I mean, prior to the season releasing, I played very briefly on Crimson Days, as we mentioned in our last episode, and I jumped into a single match. You guys can check our stream on Mixer. Go to look up Blue Streak on Mixer, and you'll find my channel where we streamed with the Nerd Crew for a couple hours, and we did a variety of activities. Basically, the Gambit Surge bounties to kind of get our light levels caught up, because a couple of us have been absent longer than some from the week to week Destiny grind. So I'm happy to announce I'm over 640 across the board. Tried out Gambit Prime, got completely licked. So we jumped over to some other activities to continue our Surge bounties. Haven't jumped back into Prime, but I'm looking forward to your tips for the back and forth with the Reckoning and the quests there. So I will definitely be pursuing that this week. So I've got a handful of things to do before reset hits. Yeah, very easily. A lot of things to do before reset hits. And I look forward to kind of seeing what that grind looks like. Aside from that, dude, that's kind of just where I'm floating at right now. I am reinvigorated with excitement, though, to invest more time into Destiny with this with the season. And Season of the Forge was intriguing to me. I kept tabs on it and followed it, but I didn't dive in right when it kicked off. So I've got some catch up to do too. There's still some of the Forge questing that I have sitting around for me to do as well. So I am not without things to do in this game. Not even close to running out of things to do. So I'm going to try to cram in some of it before the fall drop, because I know there's going to be more things to do come the fall. That's my reset, dude. This is probably, if you got nothing else to add for now, at least for our topics. Okay, go ahead.
I want to say to all those YouTubers all those streamers, all those people out there in the gaming press that wanted to say that Anthem was going to destroy Destiny. I don't see that happening, and I'm sorry.
Guys, if you want to, listeners of this show, if you want to hear our slightly more thorough thoughts and comparisons on that, look for a upcoming episode in the following week on our Nerdentials podcast. Now's as good a time as any, Lynn, to do a little housekeeping, a little bit of a wrap up here.
Yeah.
But just to briefly add to what you said, like right now, here's the long short of it, guys. You can check up our YouTube channel over at Nerdentials. I'm currently uploading a positive perspective on the storyline playthrough for Anthem, and on a just personally, I am very thoroughly enjoying what is there. But just to add to your point, Lynn, it is not even remotely close to destroying, let alone even competing against our beloved franchise known as Destiny.
Well, I'm not knocking Anthem as a game. I'm saying in comparison to the genre types, Anthem doesn't have. It's not on the same
That's what
ground level.
I'm agreeing with you, Lynn. I'm iterating, and I don't think anyone thinks you're crapping all over Anthem either.
No, I know, and I want to put up my opinion as I like the game. I really, when I'm able to play the game, I love the game. And you guys really need to check out the Let's Plays that Joe's really put up, and give the game a shot for yourself. And it's one of those things, unless you've taken a bite of it, you can't say you don't like it.
You can't say you know what it tastes like.
Yep. It's you got to take a bite of it before you can say you don't like it. Because
tell that to beautiful. My kids all the time.
It's beautiful. It's worth the play. It's PvE. It's, if you guys are tired of the PvP things in games nowadays, like with the Battle Royale or the COD type stuff, it's a fresh break. It's a beautiful fresh break.
It's a different experience altogether.
It gives you the exploration. I mean, it got off on a rough start, but it's a good game. It's nowhere near killing Destiny though.
Nope, no worries there, guys. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, Destiny has it never lost me, but it's juiced me up even more to dive back in. And there's no other franchise right now that's even risking my feelings towards Destiny. So
it's that addiction you always come back to.
Yep.
I gotta say, I am very guilty of it. I love the game. I will always be playing it, and
that's your story.
I'm always here, and like Joe was saying, he's got videos up from. You have the live stream up, don't you, from last night?
I haven't posted it to YouTube, but it's on Mixer. You guys can look at our past stream. We streamed for like 2 hours. A bunch of fun.
You know another place you also posted it? You also posted it on our Discord.
Yep.
People can get in on our conversations if they join our Discord. We are friendly. We're always talking. We're always posting media. Whenever we stream, we're always there, and we're always willing to help. Just, you got to let us know what platform you're on.
Absolutely. Wow. Fantastic plug, Lynn. That link will be in the description of every one of these episodes. So click on that Discord link and join the community known as Nerdentials. We are Nerds of Destiny on this show, and we are a Nerdentials media production. So guys, click on those links, join us, have some fun with us, play some games with us. Guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment down below and let us know how your Season of the Drifter experience is going so far. Would love to hear from you guys and add you to the conversation in our upcoming episodes. We're gonna
Also,
go ahead.
Don't hesitate with the negative too. I would love to hear it. I am down to hear the negative.
Yeah, we're not an all nonstop positive thing. We love the positivity, but you guys got some concerns or questions, go ahead and throw them this way.
The constructive criticism helps. Don't be a troll. Constructive criticism. Come on. We'll take it.
We'll take it for the Vanguard or the Drift. Anyway.
I don't know if the Jets take it. We'd throw it back at you.
Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us this week in Nerds of Destiny. Nerds have fun. And you made a very philosophical point when you said something about the other side. What was it?
What do you mean? On the way out last time?
Yeah, you closed this out you made some lore thing about Destiny about on the other side, the Ascendant Realm or something like that.
Oh, yeah. May the light guide you through the Ascendant Realm. May the Traveler's light guide you through the Ascendant Realm. As always, Guardians, we'll see you on the other side.
Perfect.